Dr. Heather Norris, Dean of App State's Walker College of Business. Welcome to Business Matters. It is my pleasure to be here today with Dr. Sandy Vinoy. Sandy is our Associate Dean for Graduate Programs and Research in the college. Emily Goldberg, who's a former student in the Walker College of Business MBA program, and Darrin Hodges, a recent undergrad and currently enrolled in the MBA program. We're going to talk today about the Walker College of Business's Masters of Business Administration program and hear about the experiences of our current students in the MBA program. Welcome, Sandy, Emily, and Darrin. Sandy, would you start off and just tell us, broadly speaking, what is the mission of the MBA program and a little bit about the MBA program?
Sure. Thank you, Heather. The mission of the MBA program is to develop the leadership potential of our students, but also to impart to them the knowledge and the skills they need to be able to operate effectively as business people in a dynamic and global business environment. And we do this in a number of ways. We have a very sound business curriculum delivered by very high-quality graduate faculty. But we go beyond just the classroom, and we have the students engage in other things like executive skills classes. The students without significant business experience engage in real-world business projects with companies. We also ask our students to travel abroad, to have international experiences, and our MBA students travel to countries like China, Poland, France, Costa Rica. As a matter of fact, Darrin traveled with an MBA group on the Costa Rica trip, and Emily traveled to France on an MBA trip. Wonderful. So we have lots of opportunities for our students to develop not only their business skills, but their international awareness of culture and so forth.
And so Emily and Darrin are two members of the MBA class. What does the enrollment look like? What are some of the demographics of the student body in the MBA program?
We currently have about 115 students in the program overall, so it's a pretty large MBA program. About 35 of those 115 students are in our part-time program, either on campus. We have a relatively new on-campus nighttime program, and we also have a distance education part-time program in Hickory. That program is geared primarily toward the working professional. The average age of our student body is about 28 years old, and we do have about 12% of our students are international students. And we currently have in place an international agreement with a university in China, Beijing International Studies University, where their students come to the MBA program and study with our students. And Appalachian recently signed a memorandum of understanding with Yaşar University in Izmir, Turkey. And we actually have a visiting professor coming to the Walker College of Business this fall to visit with us from that university.
That's right. So it really is a global opportunity and one where students could come domestically or internationally, and students who are domestic can go internationally.
Absolutely.
Emily, tell us a little bit about what drew you to the program and your background.
I was coming from the University of North Carolina at Greensboro, so I'd spent the past 4 years in a bigger city, and I'm from a relatively small town in North Carolina, and so I really liked the culture that Boone offered as a city, along with App State being a big university, but also having a small enough feel that I felt like I wasn't going to get lost in the crowd. So that's one of the main reasons that drew me here.
Well, I agree. It's a great place to live and to work and to study.
Yes.
So appreciate those comments. Darrin, what about you?
I am from West Jefferson, so just next door, and I live in Ashe County. But I am non-traditional in every sense of the word. I came back to Appalachian to finish my bachelor's degree. I am a general contractor by trade. And while I was there, I was highly encouraged by the faculty because of my grades and other things to pursue my master's degree while I was there. And so I decided to continue on with the MBA program just for the opportunities that it would create for me at my age, wanting to shift professions. And also, not only for the opportunities that it could create job-wise, but for the opportunities that it opened up for my children who are extremely young, and how that would transpose later in life about them getting higher education and continuing on having two parents with advanced degrees.
And we do talk a lot about that in the leadership of our programs in the Walker College, that's setting the example for our faculty, our staff, and our students who then become ambassadors for the program and for their children and all the people whose lives they affect in their workplace and in their personal lives. So that's great to hear that that leadership is coming across very strongly.
Yeah.
For those in our audience who don't know, Darrin actually was an undergraduate student with us in CIS and won the top overall undergraduate student of the year award this past spring. So great story and great examples, both you and Emily, on the kinds of students that are enrolled in our graduate programs. Sandy, if you don't mind taking a minute, and I know Darrin and Emily have touched on this, but you know, what is it about a graduate degree that's different from an undergraduate degree? What advantages does that open up besides having that, you know, advanced higher education degree?
Sure.
How does that translate in real terms for those who might be considering graduate school in our audience?
Well, I think one thing that's very different about a Master of Business Administration versus an undergraduate degree in business is that it does set these students up as potential business leaders, because that's really what we're doing, is positioning them for leadership roles in companies. And that's going to become very important very soon, because as you know, we have a lot of baby boomers who are getting ready to retire. So companies are really going to be looking for individuals coming out of school that already have that leadership potential. So I think from that standpoint, it's very important. Also, as Darrin said, it can open up other opportunities for you if you come in specifically from another undergraduate degree without the business skills. So perhaps you majored in biology or criminal justice or some other type of degree. This gives you also the business background to go along with another degree to set you up for business management. So I think it gives you the opportunity to rise through the ranks, whereas simply an undergraduate degree doesn't put you in that position.
Thanks. And Emily and Darrin, what advice would you give to students who are in those undergraduate programs, or even to younger students who are thinking ahead, you know, about what do they need to know? What kind of advice would you give them to be successful in being accepted into an MBA program, a graduate level degree? What kinds of advice would you give them?
I think one of the biggest things is, obviously as an undergrad student, you have to work hard. You have to make the grades and take the GRE or GMAT and get that score. But another really big component that I saw was when we were interviewing with the people in the MBA program, you kind of have to let your personality shine through, because it's a very diverse group that we are in class with every day and that we interact with. And so if you don't have that kind of personality that you can put yourself in different situations, it might be a little bit harder. So just letting yourself shine through and being able to communicate effectively and efficiently, and just putting that out there will make it a lot easier, I think, especially getting involved within the program.
And what kind of opportunities for involvement are there?
Well, I'm actually on the committee for the Executive Impact Club for the MBA program. And this is a club that we've worked really hard to establish, and we're in the process of switching board members right now. So it's a little sad that our reign's over, but we strive to give back to the community, and we also want to make an actual impact on the community of Boone with our knowledge that we are gaining through the MBA program. We do a lot of different things. We go on networking socials, we do fundraisers. We had a really fun fundraiser at A&B here in Boone, and it was mustache and flannel, so everyone dressed up, and we raised a lot of money. We've been working with Habitat for Humanity a lot, and we actually helped them finish up building a house not too long ago. So that was really, really good for us as a group, just to kind of give back in that way. And then also we're in the process of moving forward and trying to start seminars with people of the high country. So getting involved in that has been really helpful, not only for me, but for a lot of students. I know Darrin comes to a lot of the events. And it's good for people that are up here that don't know anybody, because they don't only get to meet us, they get to meet young professionals in the high country as well. So it opens a lot of doors in a lot of different ways.
That's great. I know from my own experiences of doing some volunteer work, it's more rewarding. I think for those of us who do the volunteer work, we get so much out of being able to apply our knowledge and expertise and for a good cause. Yeah. Darrin, what advice do you have for people who might be seeking an MBA degree?
Well, coming back as a non-traditional, the first thing that I would say to anyone, whether you're young or whether you're old, is that if you feel like you're in a spot that you don't belong or you want to change, it's only up to you to make the decision to go back. So when I made the decision, the first thing that I learned when I came back was, as a young student, I did not get involved. I was involved with most people that I knew, but I really didn't have a one-on-one relationship with my professors. And so when I came back this time, it was important to me, and it was also the professors that reached out to me when I came back that developed a relationship with my professors, that helped my grades. It helped me understand really the whole aspect of getting an education other than just showing up and making a grade. So if you are a young person coming or an older person coming back, don't let anything limit you. Get engaged with your professors. Get engaged with Walker when you come back to Appalachian, and that will really help you out. As far as the Masters of Business Administration is concerned, one of the things that I saw recently out of the Charlotte Observer was a study on the highest ranking incomes in Charlotte and where they were located, and believe it or not, most of those places had advanced degrees. So the opportunity is definitely there, regardless of whether or not you're graduating with a bachelor's at 21 or whether or not you're going on 42 or 41 and coming back and getting it. So just be engaged and communicate with professors. Get to know them, and they'll get to know you and help you out.
And you've obviously figured out the time management skills, because I heard you say you have a young family and you're going to school full time.
Structured time, and that's where I think the biggest thing that I tell young students whenever I talk to them is, look at this as a job. I've been out in the working world and know the commitment of having to get up early and work a job and then go home and then you have your fun. So for me, I've said that it's almost easier for me having a structure of a family because it limits my free time. But the younger folks, I tell them that that's where I probably fail earlier, was that the free time is something where you feel like you can put something off. So it become a detriment if you had free time for me. So that's one of the things I tell those that are younger is structure your time. View it as a job. Come to campus at 8 a.m. or whatever time you start classes, and stay on campus that entire time. Use it like a job. So you go to class when you're not in class, perform your duties for the class. At 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, that's when you work or when you can go out and have fun, just like it is whenever I go home and have to be a dad or mow the yard or do whatever it is that I do whenever I get home.
Great advice. So Emily, I think I heard you say you're pursuing an HR concentration within the MBA program. There are other concentrations within the MBA program. So not only do you have flexibility in terms of full-time, part-time, evening here in Hickory, but you have opportunities to focus on a particular area. Emily, what drew you to HR?
My undergraduate degree is in marketing, so I knew from that I kind of wanted to do something where I could work with a bunch of different people in a bunch of different ways. And so when I came here, there wasn't a marketing offered, but I researched into the leading and managing human resources, and I kind of figured that was my niche and that's where I belonged. And I really liked it that we could take classes outside of just the MBA program, because I took one with the international or IOHRM students, and just getting to see the way that their program works and then the way our program works, it was really good to get to mingle with them and work with them on projects, and it really made me realize that HR is probably the best place for me.
Leading and managing people.
Yes.
And Darrin, do you have a concentration?
My concentration is in analytics. So I view myself as being analytical. I like being a problem solver. And with an undergrad degree of computer information systems, and I minored in supply chain management, analytics is a means to be able to use those tools that information systems can provide to help solve business problems and apply that to strategy for business. Look out into the future, try to figure out where things are going by looking at your past and the data that's created. So that highly interested me, and so that was my concentrations, analytics.
And that's a nice follow-on to one of our previous Business Matters episodes where we talked about analytics and our Center for Applied Research and Education in Analytics. And that was a big term and a big concept. But for those of our viewers who weren't able to see that particular episode, can you condense down in a very simple way what analytics means?
Well, analytics, again, it's like solving a problem. So whenever you look at things analytically, you try to look at the past, use the transactional data that you have to prepare for the future, and use that information in order to gain a better strategy, a better competitive advantage for whatever business that you're in. And it can be very simple. You can use analytics using Microsoft Excel, or you can use what we use to get a certificate, even if you don't want to get the entire MBA. But we get a certificate when we concentrate in analytics is in SAS. So you can use models, you develop models that can predict the future, and then you can go a step further that prescribe what you need to do in order to make businesses prepare for the future and what you think your customers might be doing, or even try to push your customers into even doing that a little bit. So analytics is definitely what you hear a lot about in the media, using big data, using all these tools, but really it breaks down just to solving a business problem and helping develop a strategy for the future.
So Sandy, you've got a robust Master's of Business Administration program, lots of different options in terms of the structure of the program and the concentrations within. We've heard of 2 of those concentrations. I know you have more. Do you want to highlight a few of the others?
We do. We actually have 7 concentrations. We have the Human Resources Management concentration, the Business Analytics concentration, Supply Chain Management is a concentration, Economics.
So what is supply chain management?
Supply chain management is something that I'm sure all businesses are becoming very aware of, but it's all about managing your product from the very inception of that product all the way through to the hands of the customer. So it's becoming a big deal today to manage that whole supply chain and do it in such a way that's the most efficient and effective, so that the product gets out to the customer at the best price, gets out to the product gets out to the customer in the most efficient and effective manner. So we actually, at the undergraduate level, have a minor in supply chain, which Darrin has done, and we've been able to translate that over into the MBA program. Also, sustainability, which is one of the big initiatives for the College of Business, is one of our concentrations, and students, along with the 27 hours of core business courses that they take in the MBA program, can concentrate 9 hours of their electives in sustainability and learn about the business value of sustainability. How can companies transact their business in such a way, in sustainable ways, that are not only environmentally sustainable, but to help their companies be more sustainable. International business is one of our concentrations, so lots of our students have interest in, at some point, working internationally, so they're able to concentrate those electives in international business. So we have just a wide range of ways that students can focus in. All students get the same basic MBA, but then they focus in with their electives on an area that's of greater interest to them.
That's great. And if we could go back a little bit on the sustainability concentration, I know it's a word that you see a lot in the press, just as we see big data and analytics, but not everyone in the audience may be familiar with what sustainability means, or the scope of how it impacts a lot of different areas. And you mentioned one aspect of that is being environmentally protective, so that we have our environment and the beauty of our area and the water and the food and the infrastructure to be able to continue to appreciate the earth and all that it has to offer. But what are some other aspects of the business side of sustainability?
Well, one of the problems with sustainability is there are so many definitions of sustainability. From a business perspective, while we are very concerned about the environment and operating businesses in an environmentally friendly way, we're looking at it more from a business value proposition. So we're looking at ways that companies can engage in environmentally sound practices that also return business value back to them. So rather than having waste that has to be discarded, and a lot of times they have to pay for that waste, how can they recycle that waste, or perhaps reuse that in their business practices that brings business value back to the company? So it's really about bringing business value as well as being kind to the environment.
Yes. And I know that's, as you said, one of our key initiatives in the college, and
Right.
we'll probably be sharing more with our audience as we unfold some future episodes on that very topic. So I appreciate you giving us just a flavor of it. So tell us a little bit more about future opportunities in graduate programs. We've heard quite a bit about the MBA program, the Master's in Business Administration, but that's not the only master's degree that we
Right.
offer in our college. So what are some others and what's coming down the pike?
Sure. The College of Business has a long-standing Master of Science in Accounting program that's been in place for many years. It's a very stable, very high-quality program. The accounting program has about 60 students currently enrolled in the program. It's a 30-hour program. Students coming in with an undergraduate degree in accounting can finish that program in about a year. Students coming in with an undergraduate in another area would take about 2 years to finish that program. But one of the wonderful things about students that are in that master's program is their preparation for the CPA exam. Students nationally have about a 40% pass rate on the CPA exam.
And a CPA is?
A certified public accountant.
And so if a student wants to go into a career where they're doing what kind of work, they need a CPA?
They need, if they're going to be doing tax work, if they're going to be doing auditing work, our students have 2 tracks that they can focus on, either a general track or a tax track. So our students would go into one of those areas, and typically they go to work for one of the big 4 CPA type firms, big accounting firms, but a lot of them go to work for smaller regional firms as well. But our students leave that program very prepared, not only for that exam, but for the workplace as well. And some other opportunities that we have at the graduate level, Darrin mentioned the analytics certificate. Students can achieve a graduate certificate in business analytics with 15 hours of coursework in analytics.
And so a graduate certificate is different from a graduate degree. It's a smaller number of courses.
It
and
is.
Students who are in the certificate program could be from the local area,
From any area.
and just want to get some expertise in a particular aspect of business.
Yes, and in this case, analytics. A lot of our students who are getting the MBA concentration in analytics will end up with a certificate in business analytics. But as you said, it doesn't have to be limited to those students. It's open to anyone. You just be admitted to the graduate school and you can apply for that certificate.
Wonderful.
Something new that we're doing in the MBA program, we just started that this summer actually. In our Hickory program, our students are, after they take our Lean Six Sigma course, are qualified to sit for a Green Belt Six Sigma certification. So our students for the first time sat for that certification, and we had several students in that program who were successful and now have their Green Belt certification in Lean Six Sigma.
And you're not
Which
talking
means-
about karate here,
Which
right?
means that these students know, again, the most efficient and effective ways of doing business. It's all about understanding the business process and the most effective way to carry out that business process in the most, where we have the least problems. We have the most success with fewer problems in that business process.
Great. Well, I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and I'm going to come back to you to ask you about the master's degree in analytics
Sure.
that you're planning for, and also some other joint kinds of opportunities at the graduate level. But first, I want to just ask Emily and Darrin, what has been the most challenging thing that you faced when you were in graduate school? What's been the most rewarding? What will you miss most when you graduate about being in the MBA program or being in Boone?
I'll definitely miss the people the most. Being an accelerated program and it's only a year, you get kind of latched on to the people that you're with because you're in a lot of classes with them. So you form bonds really quickly. So that's probably going to be what I miss the most, is just not having that core group of people that you're with every day to go on to the workplace with me.
Yeah. Darrin?
For me, my wife says that I should be a professional student because I do well at making good grades, and that's a new occurrence that didn't happen when I was younger. But for me, it's the experience. I think coming back as an older person in the program, I have enjoyed this more and experienced this more, and getting to know young people and having fun with them going to Costa Rica. I mean, they took me in like a hen takes in a chick, I guess. So that will be one of the biggest things that I miss is the experience, the camaraderie with both young people and with the faculty alike.
Relationships. Well, we're about out of time, but I do want our audience to know that Sandy and her group are working hard on new opportunities. One of those is a master's degree in analytics and some possible other areas of certification for folks who just want to get a little bit extra knowledge in a particular area of business. And I know you've also worked hard with other colleges on campus so that students who are pursuing master's degrees in things like physics can get a joint
dual degree.
Mm-hmm. So wonderful opportunities for all different kinds of interests. And appreciate you all being here. It's been a joy talking with you. That's our program for this week. You can find out additional information about our MBA program at www.mba.appstate.edu. Please join us again for Walker College's Business Matters. I'm Heather Norris.